Kandi Burruss and Todd Tucker's divorce is still making headlines, and baby, the rumors are not just rumoring, they are screaming, loud, echoing, reverberating through the blogs like Shannon Sharpe reaching ecstasy with a 23-year-old white woman. What started as a quiet, seemingly respectful split has now spiraled into a full-blown spectacle. We're talking cheating rumors, custody grabs, legal maneuvering, and whispers that Todd is trying to contest a prenup he proudly signed on national television. Messy, calculated, predictable. And all I can say right out the gate is this: Mama Joyce was right. The sisters were right. The streets were right. Hell, we were right. Today, we're breaking down everything that has happened since Kandi Burruss officially pulled the plug on her 11-year marriage, because this situation is no longer about love lost. It's about power, control, entitlement, and what happens when a woman finally chooses peace over partnership. But before we get into the scheme that Todd allegedly set up, and yes, I said scheme, don't forget to head over to rgssnacks.com, our online concession stand where you can grab Applewood smoked bacon jerky, freeze-dried treats, and butter toffee peanuts. Get you something to munch on because this story is layered. Now, let's get into it. Kandi Burruss officially announced her divorce from Todd Tucker on November 21, 2025, and initially everything appeared calm, respectful, almost cordial. Too cordial, if you ask me. Despite ending an 11-year marriage, Kandi still showed up and showed out for their daughter Blaze's 6th birthday. The party was Snow White themed, held in Atlanta, and both parents were present, smiling, posing, and playing nice like two people who agreed beforehand, let's not act a fool in front of company. Todd even posted a photo of Blaze dressed as a princess, complete with face paint and a unicorn, captioning it with words about how she makes him laugh and reminds him how blessed he is. And on the surface, it was sweet. It gave involved dad. It gave we're still a family. But here's where things started to feel off. Kandi also posted a birthday tribute for Blaze, and Todd was nowhere in sight. No couple photo, no co-parent pose, just Kandi and her baby. Subtle but noticeable. Then Thanksgiving rolled around, and Kandi posted photos from her family gathering. The pictures included all of her children, including Todd's daughter Kayla from a previous relationship. And honestly, that didn't shock anyone who's been watching Kandi for years. One thing about her, she keeps relationships with her ex's kids. She did it with Gerald Levert's children, may he rest in peace, and she's continued that pattern consistently. That's one of the things people genuinely respect about her. But once again, people noticed something else. Todd was missing. And when the comments started coming in, Kandi jumped in herself and clarified. Before anyone assumes anything, Todd came earlier to eat with us, but he wasn't there for the pic. He was not left out or anything like that. Now, sure. Okay, if that's what we're calling it. Because from the outside looking in, it didn't feel like friendly exes. It felt like separation with tension bubbling just under the surface. And as much as Kandi wanted to project peace, Todd was already doing something very different behind the scenes. On December 1, 2025, the tone of this divorce changed completely. Reports surfaced that Todd Tucker had filed for primary custody of their two minor children, Ace and Blaze. Let that sink in. Not joint custody, not shared custody, primary custody. Todd claimed that the children were currently living with him because Kandi was traveling extensively for work and would continue to do so. Now, he made sure to praise her parenting, which is almost always the line people use right before they file for something bold. Great parent, love the kids, but let me go ahead and secure this paperwork. And while Kandi has always been open about her demanding schedule, this move immediately raised eyebrows, because this wasn't about concern, this was about positioning. But Todd didn't stop there. Right after the custody filing came the real bombshell. Todd began questioning the validity of the prenup he signed before their April 2014 wedding. Now, let's be very clear. Kandi Burruss's prenup was not some last-minute napkin agreement. That document was tighter than Kris Jenner's facelift. No alimony, a clear division of assets, and if the marriage ended, Todd had 30 days to vacate the marital home which Kandi owned. Mama Joyce had alarms going off about this prenup from day one, and history is now tapping her shoulder and saying, "You tried to tell them." Todd is now claiming that the prenup should be invalidated because his lawyer was not present at the time it was issued. According to court documents, these circumstances raise substantial questions regarding the enforceability of said document. And just like that, the man who signed happily on national television is now asking the court to divide all marital assets accumulated during their 11-year marriage. Sir, be serious. As if that wasn't enough, another shoe dropped. According to People magazine, Kandi allegedly discovered that Todd had been talking to other women behind her back, and she reportedly had no idea. Now, here's where things get complicated and confusing for a lot of people. Because rumors have swirled for years that Kandi and Todd had some form of an open relationship, or at least looser boundaries than most traditional marriages. So people started asking questions. If sleeping with other women, allegedly with consent, was acceptable, then why was talking to other women the breaking point? And the answer is actually simpler than folks want to admit. Consent changes everything. Transparency changes everything. You can agree to unconventional arrangements, but the moment secrecy enters the chat, trust is broken. And once trust breaks, the foundation crumbles fast. This is why open relationships rarely work long-term when people are trying to maintain a marriage. If you're done, just be done. Don't marry people and then renegotiate the rules every time somebody's ego gets stroked a little too hard. However, for Kandi, performing has always been at the center of who she is. Musical theater in particular has been a lifelong love. So stepping into And Juliet at this point in her life feels like more than just another role. It feels like a full circle moment. She describes it as the perfect role at the perfect time. And when you listen to her speak, you can hear the gratitude, the excitement, and the quiet strength underneath it all. This isn't about proving anything to anyone else. This is about honoring a dream that never fully went away, even when life pulled her in other directions. And Juliet is not just a musical filled with hit songs, it's an experience. From the very first moment someone steps onto the stage, the show grabs you and refuses to let go. Every song is instantly recognizable. Every number is a bop. These are songs people grew up with, songs that played during first loves, heartbreaks, road trips, celebrations, and quiet moments alone. And yet, what makes the show special isn't just the music, it's how those songs are woven into a story that feels current, relatable, and emotionally resonant. Kandi points out that even the bows at the end of the show make you feel like you want to be part of it. That says everything. The energy doesn't drop once the story ends. It lingers. It pulls the audience into the joy, the movement, and the message. And at the heart of that message is something incredibly powerful. The idea of taking control of your life during a time of transition, even when you don't have all the answers. It's about standing in uncertainty and still believing that wherever you're headed is going to be better because you chose yourself. That theme alone mirrors where Kandi is in her own life right now, which is why this role resonates so deeply with her. She's in a transitional period. She doesn't pretend to have everything figured out, but what she does know is that wherever she's going to make sure it's amazing. That confidence doesn't come from arrogance, it comes from experience, resilience, and self-trust built over years. When asked how she would define this next era of her life, Kandi doesn't give a neatly packaged answer. She doesn't try to label it or box it in. Instead, she speaks honestly about not knowing exactly where things are headed, while still feeling completely sure that whatever comes next will be incredible. That kind of mindset is powerful because it's rooted in faith in oneself rather than certainty about circumstances. There's something freeing about reaching a point in life where you no longer need everything mapped out to move forward. Kandi embodies that. She's stepping into this era with intention, optimism, and accountability. She knows that greatness doesn't happen by accident. It happens because you show up for yourself consistently, even when things feel uncomfortable or uncertain. Kandi has always been a fan of Max Martin. His influence on pop music is undeniable, spanning decades and shaping the sound of entire generations. These are songs people don't just recognize, they feel them. And seeing how those hits are transformed within the context of & Juliet is something Kandi genuinely appreciates. The songs don't feel forced into the storyline. Instead, they enhance it, giving familiar lyrics new emotional weight when placed into situations that reflect real-life experiences. What makes it even more special is that audiences already know these songs by heart. That familiarity creates an instant connection. But instead of relying solely on nostalgia, the show reintroduces these hits in a way that feels fresh, meaningful, and grounded in storytelling. For Kandi, performing music people already love while bringing new life and context to it is both fun and fulfilling. Despite her extensive career, Kandi openly admits that she was nervous stepping into this role. Musical theater vocals are demanding, and many of the songs in & Juliet sit in ranges typically suited for sopranos. Kandi identifies herself as an alto tenor, which meant serious preparation was required. She had to work closely with her vocal coach, pushing her range, strengthening her technique, and ensuring she could deliver consistently night after night. Even with all that preparation, nerves still showed up. She recalls her hand shaking uncontrollably the morning of her performance on The View. That moment is important because it humanizes her. It reminds us that fear doesn't disappear just because you're experienced or successful. Fear shows up when something matters. What defines you is how you respond to it. For Kandi, those first few weeks of performances come with an extra layer of pressure. She wants to show up, she wants to show out, she wants to conquer the day. And that phrase, conquer the day, isn't just something she says to herself, it's something deeply woven into how she parents. Every morning, Kandi asks her children if they're ready to conquer the day. And recently, her 6-year-old daughter Blaze turned the question back on her. Mommy, are you ready to conquer the day? That moment says everything about why this journey matters so much to Kandi. She believes fear equals failure, not because fear itself is bad, but because allowing fear to stop you is what leads to regret. She teaches her children that pushing past fear is essential if you want to make your dreams real. And by stepping into a role that challenges her, scares her, and stretches her, she's modeling exactly what she preaches. Her children are watching her choose courage over comfort. They're seeing her pursue something difficult instead of staying safe. And that lesson will stay with them far longer than anything she could ever say out loud. Before the fame, before the chart-topping hits, before reality television, Kandi was a musical theater kid. She attended Tri-Cities High School of Visual and Performing Arts and was part of the Youth Ensemble of Atlanta. Musical theater was the dream. Broadway was the goal. Many of her peers went on to build full careers on that very stage. While Kandi found massive success in music, there was always a quiet thought lingering in the background, the wonder of what might have been if she had pursued musical theater professionally. Now, years later, she's answering that question for herself. For anyone who grew up in the performing arts, Broadway represents the pinnacle. Reaching it later in life with experience, wisdom, and personal history behind you makes the achievement even more meaningful. It's not just about making it, it's about appreciating it fully. This role arrived during a deeply transitional time in Kandi's personal life, and instead of shying away from that reality, she leaned into it. & Juliet is about life after Romeo. It's about what happens when a chapter ends and you're forced to imagine a future that looks different than what you planned. That parallel is impossible to ignore. Art is imitating life, and life is feeding back into art. Channeling real emotions into a character can be both healing and challenging. It requires vulnerability, it requires honesty, but it also provides a sense of release. Kandi describes how this show has helped her refocus on herself. It's pushed her back into consistent workouts, disciplined vocal training, and a mindset centered on showing up as her best self. Work has become a grounding force, a place where she can pour her energy and regain balance during a time when it would be easy to unravel. As her Broadway debut on December 11th approaches, Kandi has been intentional about protecting her voice and energy. She's avoiding loud environments, minimizing unnecessary strain, and focusing on rehearsals and memorization. This isn't about being antisocial, it's about respect for the craft. Her daughter Riley is in New York filming Next Gen, and while they stay connected, Kandi made it clear that opening night is sacred. No cameras, no distractions, no added pressure. This is live theater, 8 shows a week, no retakes, no safety net. She's also addressed the misconception that everything she does is for reality TV. Right now, she's not filming, she's not crafting a storyline, she's working. Broadway doesn't allow shortcuts. Every performance demands presence, consistency, and excellence. Kandi wants everyone who comes to see & Juliet while she's part of it to leave feeling good. She wants them dancing, singing, smiling, and uplifting, especially during the holidays when so many people are carrying silent burdens. Joy matters. Balancing 8 shows a week with family responsibilities, personal challenges, and self-care isn't easy, but for Kandi, the alternative, sitting at home and falling apart, was never an option. Her children are watching. They're all pursuing entertainment in their own ways, and she wants to see what resilience looks like in action. Kandi also shared her appreciation for Joey Fatone, who reached out to support her. Their history goes back to her early writing days with NSYNC, and the mutual respect and positive energy between them has never faded. Though they won't be sharing the stage this time, she leaves space for future possibilities, reminding us that careers evolve, connections endure, and joy can show up when you least expect it. Days after the rumors exploded, Kandi went live, and for the first time, we saw cracks in the armor. She admitted she feels emotionally up and down, that the process has been overwhelming, that sometimes she wants to respond to comments and set the record straight, but she stops herself because protecting her peace matters more. She emphasized that she has no regrets because they created a beautiful family, and honestly, those kids are adorable. You can tell she takes pride in them. Then, on December 4th, 2025, Kandi posted a carousel of photos. In every picture, she was smiling, surrounded by people, looking put together. But the caption told a completely different story. She said she feels emotionally broken, that she internalizes everything, that even when she's surrounded by people, no one truly knows what she's dealing with. She shared lyrics from an old song she wrote about wanting to scream just to release the pressure she's been holding inside. And that's when public sentiment started to shift, because people realized this wasn't sudden, this wasn't impulsive, this was exhaustion. Once the internet smells blood, it starts digging, and baby, those Todd Tucker clips came back up fast. One video showed Todd describing a woman who catered to him, cooked for him in her panties, always had a drink ready, and treated him like a king. He spoke about her with such enthusiasm that even Kandi asked him, so why didn't that relationship work? And that question still stands. Why didn't he marry her? Why didn't he stay with the woman who allegedly did everything he wanted? Old therapy sessions also resurfaced, where Kandi and Todd admitted that intimacy had declined and their overlapping work lives created emotional distance. Then there was another clip where Todd criticized a woman on Kandi's team for receiving a tennis bracelet from a male friend. He questioned what she did to deserve such an expensive gift, and people couldn't help but ask the obvious question: what did you do to deserve Kandi Burruss? When you step back and look at the full timeline, this divorce feels less like a sudden breakup and more like a long, simmering psychological unraveling. Kandi Burruss was the financial architect. She built the brand. She generated the income. She produced the projects. She carried the emotional and logistical weight of the household. And when one partner begins to see himself as the prize while standing on a foundation he didn't build, resentment creeps in quietly, entitlement grows, and intimacy fades. The person doing the heavy lifting ends up feeling alone, even in a full house. Todd's sudden grab for primary custody and his attempt to undermine the prenup don't just feel like legal strategy, they feel like fear. Fear of losing stability, fear of losing lifestyle, fear of losing access to a structure he benefited from but did not create. When people feel control slipping away, they don't always fight for love, sometimes they fight for leverage. Kandi's admission that she is emotionally broken tells us she's been holding this together for far longer than we realized. And once someone reaches the point where peace becomes more important than partnership, the ending is already written. Did we hope for an amicable split? No, we love mess over here. Stop lying to these people, they already know. This divorce isn't just an ending, it's a detangling, a woman reclaiming her autonomy, and a man scrambling as the structure he leaned on starts to disappear.